Welcome to Notary Insights Live with Tech Amaku and Tiger Toledo. The show will be starting shortly. Thank you for your patience.
As a part-time traveling notary with a full-time job, balancing everything can be tough, especially when you're getting calls at all hours. That's where Sabrina AI comes in. Think of Sabrina as your personal assistant who answers every call, handles appointment bookings, provides quick answers to common questions, and filters out non-urgent inquiries. Sabrina works 24/7 so you never miss a client opportunity, even when you're tied up with your full-time job. With this system, you can keep things running smoothly without the stress of managing calls yourself, giving you more time to focus on your work, clients, and everything else life throws your way.
Scan the QR code for a free demo.
Welcome to Notary Insights Live with Tech Amaku and Tiger Toledo. The show will be starting shortly. Thank you for your patience.
So, all right, Drake, I have a question because, it's rare that we have you on here, but when we do, I always want to ask you the question of, because you're a visionary, how do you see the notary industry unfolding with everything that's going on nowadays, with the run, with AI being introduced now, with electronic filings and, people doing e-logs and stuff like that? What do you see happening in the notary industry from now and let's just say the next year or two?
Great question. I think as popular as Ron is, I wouldn't be shocked if it gets rolled back a little bit.
Okay.
And here's why. Once there are, and I saw that this actually happened with a lady in her land, that if a lot of online notaries turn out to be fraudulent, I think they're gonna roll back to the more in-person stuff. It wouldn't shock me. Let me put it like that. It wouldn't shock me.
Welcome to Notary Insights Live with Tech Amaku and Tiger Toledo. The show will be starting shortly. Thank you for your patience.
Texting someone back as if, maybe you don't speak to them, but you get a chance to communicate with them better. I'm curious, Stephen, what do you think?
So I think that you definitely want to seize the opportunity. So if you can't maybe answer the phone call, but you can send that text message, I think it'll give you a little bit of a little pause, between them being like, oh, they didn't answer, calling the next number. That pause will maybe let you wrap up what you're doing and then give them the phone call back. But honestly, I think the best is with what Sabrina offers, and that's if you miss a phone call, she then goes and goes after the client, and you don't have to wrap up what you were doing to get the phone to send that text or call the client back. You can just continue doing what you're doing, and everything gets handled in the background.
So, like, for me, first of all, missing a phone call was gut-wrenching for me, because I knew the only time that phone would ring was because somebody wanted to spend money with it.
Welcome to Notary Insights Live with Tech Amaku and Tiger Toledo. The show will be starting shortly. Thank you for your patience.
All right, make sure we get everything right. Tech to the stiz age. Tech, what up, baby?
What up, baby?
What's happening, man?
Broadcasting live from the Golden State.
Yes, indeed. What's the weather out there?
73, nice and toasty, man. It's perfect weather. 75 is as good as it gets.
Shout out to the town, man. You heard? I'm out here.
Was it out there?
It's rainy today. It's chilly, dude. For it to be, I think we're in summer now, right?
No, not officially.
Yeah, it feel like fall out here.
Nah, man. It's I had a conversation yesterday with a guy that I knew for like 20-something years, and we were just talking about how a lot of our peers are moving to different parts of the country, Georgia, Texas. A lot of people moving to Arizona. And, when you're out there, it gets to 120, 123. And I'm talking like right now, that's a 50-degree swing. So unless even with how expensive it is to live here, something that we deal with, we just put up with it because there's no chance I'm living in hell. Literally, 120 degrees is hell.
No way, baby. Oh, I got to give a shout out to New York. Shout out to New York. I see how happy you guys are. The Knicks are winning over there. Shout out to the Knicks. Yes, indeed. New York is wilding right now. They got Madison Square Garden on lock, Tech. So shout out to my hometown, New York. You heard? So yeah, let's get right into it. Let me pull up the Notary slide. But while I'm pulling that up, Tech, keep the people on ice.
Yeah, this is the Notary Trivia Show, the Notary Insight Show. We start with trivia, start with our greetings, start off with our shout outs, and then we go into trivia. Then we go into our main topic, which today is the rise of the machines. And then we'll go into a money corner. Then we'll end the show like that. Or we'll finish with some hot takes, maybe some announcements, maybe some hot topics. Then we'll finish the show. As always, leave a comment if you're watching this live. If you're watching this on replay, also leave a comment and we'll get back to it, man.
Mm-hmm. So this one's going to be fun, Tech. This one is called Cafe Cash Flow. So it has to go with upsells, ways that notaries can actually make money despite the regulations on notary fees and stuff, which we know a lot of notaries don't really give a rat's ass about that anyway.
Let's go. This is my specialty.
Oh yeah, you'll score high on this one though. I know.
Entertainment purposes only.
He said, "I gotta say that."
Yeah. People want to sue you nowadays.
Okay, so spin the wheel. First question, Tech. Loan signing specialization is the highest paying notary upsell. Is this statement true or false?
This statement will be false. 100% false.
And I agree with you on that. But this one, it says it's incorrect. That we both know that's not the case. Man, so, but it says loan signing specialists can earn $75 to $200 per appointment, making it the most lucrative notary upsell. Okay.
First of all, that's a weird ass range. 75 to 200 is such a weird range.
That's a big jump too.
Yeah, so that should tell you something that's not true. I see all these things about you can make anywhere from $10 to $300. It's here's something for you guys. It's probably closer to 75 than it is to 200. Just don't be surprised if it's closer to 75 than to 200.
Well, I would say depending on if you're getting your own clients or not, right?
Well, always, if you're getting a loan signing appointment, then the high likelihood is that it's probably coming from a signing service. However, I understood the question as if it was being fed to you, i.e., coming from a signing service.
Yeah, if you're using those like SnapDocs and the rest of them guys, you're definitely closer. You're under 75 a lot of times, unfortunately. Okay, spin the wheel. Bundling services like offering multiple notarizations at once cannot legally be discounted. Is that statement true or false?
False.
Correct, brother. Offering mobile notary services can increase your revenue by at least 30%. True or false?
True. I'm shooting from the hip today.
Notaries can increase revenue by partnering with real estate professionals.
That's subjective, but I'm going to go true.
Okay. Correct, brother.
I mean, how would you define a real estate professional? As you know, most of these appointments don't come from the real estate agent themselves anyway. And yet most people want to market to real estate agents. But they're not giving out the assignments. They're not the ones who's responsible for that.
Yeah, but I think it would go more to the partnership side of it, right? Because you could partner up with a plumber. If that dude does a lot of liens on properties that need to get notarization, that would increase your revenue too.
Possibly.
So
yes.
I think just a partnership in general gives you a higher probability of making more money. Offering electronic notarizations requires the same credentials as traditional notarization.
False.
False. Correct, brother. Told you was gonna score high on this one, man.
Yeah. I'd be wary. Even today, I still be wary about doing electronic notarizations. Again, if you're very gun ho on that, then do you. But I'm telling you guys, and this fall we're gonna do a excellent feature, an expose on. Since so many notaries want to be lawyers, think they went to law school. We're gonna do an excellent, outstanding expose on notary laws and just how easy it is for you to get sued. And it'll just make you think twice about this online notarization stuff because, yeah, it sounds like you can sign up for a platform and then they can just feed you $20 assignments for doing 200 notarizations. And that might sound like an easy task to you, but I'm telling you, man, the liability that's involved, if you understand what a notary is, the liability that's involved with putting your name on a piece of paper in which you could be responsible for incredible sums of money, you probably think twice about doing something where you wasn't there. You was in another state or you were in another room doing it electronically. You'd probably think twice about that. Just saying. That's coming later this fall. It's gonna be, I can't wait, man.
Yeah, that's gonna be real interesting, man.
Y'all gonna learn a lot, man.
Let's go to the next one. Creating subscription packages for business clients can double a notary's monthly income.
Yes. Oh, it's true.
Correct.
How many people actually knew that you could do that, do subscription services?
You said what?
How many people actually knew that you could do a subscription?
I don't even think that crosses their mind, bro. That is a very new concept to create a subscription plan for one of your corporate clients.
They didn't teach that in the notary class?
I didn't take a notary class, but the notary business school. By the way, shout out to the brother Andre Hatchett. He is taking his career to a new level now. He has created an awesome media company who we've actually worked with. We've worked with his media company before. It does produce results, I'll say that, with a guarantee and 100% fact. He is retiring the Notary Business School. He's been doing it for 10 years now. Am I right, Tech? 10 years?
10 years? Oh, yeah. I would say he's been a notary, commissioned notary for longer than that. But yes, the Notary Business School for 10 years.
Mm-hmm. So he's helped so many notaries in this industry. It's well past the millions. Collectively that he's helped notaries make money in this industry. So shout out to that brother for, taking his business to a whole nother level with his media company. Check him out. In the meantime, you guys can always tune into Tech and I. We're putting out the shows. We're putting out the software. We're here for you. We're not going anywhere for a while. So
yeah, that'd be cool to do a tribute episode to him too, man. If he wants to come on and then talk about that, I'll be down for that.
Hey, let's make that happen. Let's go to the next question. Notaries can legally charge for travel expenses in addition to notarization fees.
True.
And for those tuning in, you guys can access this Cafe Cash Flow trivia in the description below. I put the link in there, and then you can play with your fellow notaries or your friends and then see who scores the highest. It's absolutely free. Notaries can legally offer document preparation services. True or false?
It's true.
False. While notaries cannot give legal advice, they can offer non-legal document preparation services as an upsell in most states. Isn't that? I got that wrong too, bro.
Oh, you say can, but I should have read it and said cannot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fair to take that. It's all good.
Okay, 2 more questions. Offering weekend and after-hour appointments requires special certification.
False.
I thought that was funny. Last question.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Somebody probably makes
that was a funny one, man.
A certification about that. So here's a weekend notary certification.
But I wonder if there were people out there that thought they could offer that.
Of course, man. Come on. Of course.
No, like they need a certification, or like it's not legal to do it on weekends. I don't know, man.
No, you say that, but I'm telling you, there were people who told me, who swore up and down that you needed a special certification to sign loan packages. So of course, why wouldn't they think that you would need something for the weekend? If somebody told them that they didn't know, why not?
Yeah.
You think it's trivial to you, but I guarantee there's somebody who believes it.
That's right. Okay, last question. Offering document delivery services alongside notarization is prohibited in most states. True or false?
False.
You did great, bro. Shout out to you on that one. You scored at 80%. And then, ladies and gentlemen, you have the answer keys. All you have to do is scroll down. You'll be able to see the answer key there. And then this has been brought to you by Sabrina AI, software for notaries. It answers your calls, it books your appointments, process your payments, and it allows you to grow. So check out Sabrina AI at heysabrina.ai. That's heysabrina.ai. Thank you for playing the game show, Tech. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I was actually trying this time. You know, I studied, and I had a guest partner over here. Enjoying the visuals. I love the visuals.
Yeah. So today's a good topic. I think you'll enjoy this topic because it has to do with some things that you've done for a very long time, which is automation.
The Rise of the Machines. What a title.
Yeah. This show is geared for you, bro. So
right.
while I pull up the slides, man, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it only took 4 years. It only took 4.5, 5 years. But I'm happy that we finally got to this point. I'm ecstatic. Couldn't be more thrilled. People are finally coming around to what we've talked about for the last 4 or 5 years, which is automation, which is the removal of yourself from your notary company.
Mm.
So, and I'll give you an example. This might seem very obvious to you, and you might even have this built into your notary company, but the booking link, yeah, the automated appointment calendar, the scheduler. Many notaries, until recently, didn't even have that mechanism built into their notary company. And if we did pass the trash, I'm willing to bet we can check out a lot of notaries who still don't have that. So can you imagine 4 or 5 years ago when we were introducing that option, that technology into this industry?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were met with so much opposition. People were saying that it wasn't worth their time. Why would they need to have this built in? Because they could just heavily rely on signing services. Majority of their work came from third-party apps and signing services.
Yep.
And it just so happened, if you fast forward, now they're catching up. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I mean, we don't say that to disparage you. We're saying that we're happy that the work that we put in is starting to now pay off. If you had bought into it 3-4 years ago, you'd be way ahead of the curve. But hey, listen, man, not everybody sees the value of the first time around. Sometimes it takes a little bit of catching up to do.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So this is called Rise of the Machines. Is it worth automating my notary business? There are some notaries that question that. There are notaries out there that enjoy doing the traditional way of, running their business. They feel that because if they do it the traditional way, they can be more personable. They can be a little more attentive, give more of that human touch. But we are going to show you, and there's nothing wrong with doing it the traditional way, as long as you're making money in your business. I have no qualms with that. But we are entering in a different era. We are seeing as they would call, a different species of human beings, because we are vastly in the technological era of AI agents, computers, that long language generated computers that understand people, that have a very, very big intelligent knowledge base. We're in the era of a new species of human beings being, like some new type of Jurassic Park type shit for humans at this point. And it's amazing. I can't predict what's going to happen in the future. But I am on the cutting edge, and I know tech is as well. And we're keeping a very watchful eye on how things are moving. Things that were very relevant about a year ago is becoming irrelevant now. It's moving so fast that a lot of things are becoming obsolete. So we're going to dedicate this show on people that are doing things manually, and we're going to be doing things with automation, and you'll be able to see a side-by-side comparison of what that looks like. So let's go into this first. So this side-by-side, we have Aisha. By the way, both of them have AI in their names, right? Well, we have Aisha, who does use automation. And then we have Allison, who does not use any automation at all. And what we're going to do, we're going to see a side-by-side comparison of what this looks like. And Tech, jump in at any time, bro.
Yeah, I mean, the question I will ask you as you're watching this is to think about how long could you go into your notary business if you did everything? Like, how long do you think you would last? How long could you operate at that level of revolutions? And I'm using car technology, car terminology. Imagine driving down a highway and you're just cruising at 85, or if you're just redlining your engine and stepping on the gas. How long could you actually do that? And that's just something I want you to think about as you're watching this.
So we're going to look at this right here, right? The amount of time that is spent. Aisha, who uses automation, it's estimated, and these are all approximates and estimations. This aren't exact numbers, but because Tech and I have played on both fields where we were doing it manually and we currently do it with automation now, it's pretty strong to say these numbers are pretty close. So when I was doing it manually, I would spend about 50 hours a week. No, I'll say it was less than that because I was always pretty much part-time. But part-time for me is about 35, 40 hours. As an entrepreneur, right? A full-time entrepreneur, you're going to be part-time is like full-time to the regular person. So that's with no automation. That's me. Everything's paperwork. I'm file cabinet. I'm writing everything down. I'm sorting through papers. I'm manually sending out emails, physically making callbacks. Yeah, easily. Recruiting new notaries onto the team, searching for notaries, easily 40 hours. Automation, 20 hours. What do you say, Tech?
File cabinets? Did you say file cabinets, bro?
Right next to my desk. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, if you're using a file cabinet, this is definitely the topic for you. Look, today, the job of a notary could easily exceed 50 hours because when do you have time to generate new clients? When do you have time to post to your Google business page? And when do you have time to create new pictures? When do you have time to answer phone calls? And I didn't even say anything about actually running the appointments. It is round the clock. And again, the question I continue to ask is, how long could you do it? How long could you keep that up? Mm-hmm. So using automation is, at this stage, is mandatory.
The money spent is pretty much a little bit the same. I would say that there's a slight difference, but the money is pretty much the same because I'll talk on the no automation side, Tech, and then you can kind of speak more on the automation side. When I did not automate the business, I was paying money for reams of paper, binders, pens, 3M sticky notes, folders, ink. So that was the cost that I was spending. What about you? What were you spending money on with automation tech?
Yeah, so you're talking about supplies, but you're also here's the other thing though. When you talk about money spent, how about time and energy and effort? How about that? How about your focus and how empty that feels like? So obviously, I'm going to be talking and promoting the automation side, but you oftentimes feel like you're doing stuff when it really you're not. It feels like you are. It's like you're on a treadmill. You're running. You're actually physically running, but you're not going anywhere. You're actually in one spot. All right, that's the analogy I like to use. Yeah, you're doing something, but is it really moving you? With automation, you're expanding. You're actually growing. You're not in one spot. So you're spending money on the booking link. You're spending money on subscriptions to Calendly. You're spending money on an additional cell phone. You're spending money on an email service provider. All right, you're spending money on actual lead generation, Thumbtack, Google Ads. You're spending money on uh, uh, like recording services or answering services, so that you don't have to answer the phone, so that there could be a robot that answers the phone for you. Yeah, you're spending money on managing software. So if I'm outsourcing appointments to other notaries, I can find out when they're getting paid and when the appointments are actually completed, and if there are any status changes. And I'm also spending money on websites that can function 24/7 around the clock so that people can book appointments. So, and I like to change the word from money spent. Can I do that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I like to change it to money invested, because anything that you invest, it comes right back. If you invest $5, it's going to come right back and then some. You invest $100, that $100 is going to come right back to you and then some. So yeah, you're investing that money around the clock, but it's good because you're expanding the entire time.
Indeed. So, what, ladies and gentlemen, we're kind of doing a little bit of a switch up here. I am Allison. Pause. No automation, and tech is going to be the person that uses automation, so that we'll be able to give you a better illustration of what that looks like. I'm going to be talking to you guys from a person that does everything manually with no automation. Tech's going to talk to you more of a person that does all of the automation, although we both do automation now. Okay, the next one will be payroll. So at the height of my notary career, the calls became overwhelming, and I sought out a virtual assistant. Shout out to Bree out there in the Philippines. She did a great job. But it was payroll. I had a payroll to pay. I believe it was about, for full time, it was about $400 or $500 a week to do that. And she basically, everything that I could not handle, she would handle in order for me to focus more on the growth of the business. So the payroll was a very, very high thing. And if you're not closing those deals, you still have to make payroll. That's another topic right there. But, you know, your sales has to be high enough that it can support you, your lifestyle, and make payroll. And if you have a family, which I have a family, family of 4 kids and a wife, it had to cover all of that. So payroll. Now, what does payroll look like to a person with automation tech?
Payroll is, as it says, is minimal, if at all. You just pay yourself. You pay robots, and the robots are either a subscription or a one-time fee, lifetime, and it's done. That's it. So it's zero. Or if it's not zero, then it's close to zero.
Okay. So now income. Income although I had some good contracts with some corporate clients, and then, I specifically went after private clients, my pay was a little more predictable. I wouldn't say it was unpredictable because it was pretty consistent at the end of the month. And I was able to reanalyze and look at my sales status, what my orders were per notarization, and I was able to tweak it and increase, certain areas. But one thing that it did say is that I am the bottleneck. That was very true. Being the bottleneck of the business, for those that don't know what a bottleneck is, that means everything funnels through you before it actually hits the body of the business, just like a bottle. And when you're the bottleneck of the business, it restricts you from concentrating on the bigger picture, the bigger vision of the business. So like advertising, growth, recruiting, because everything is already funneling through you. So you're already the receptionist, the customer service agent, the notary, the dispatcher, the logistics person, payroll. You're already wearing a lot of hats. So it does become a little bit stressful on that. What about for automation tech?
I'm glad you said unpredictable. I'm glad that a word unpredictable was used, because that's exactly right. And the word bottleneck. The truth is, those two words, bottleneck and predictable, you broke those down beautifully. When you're using automation, the income is consistent and it increases. And this is the reason why. And your clients will thank you for this. The word efficient is used where it says efficient client handling. Your clients recognize they're familiar with the last time that they use you, and then the next time they're familiar with the interface. They're familiar with the immediate confirmation and the immediate receipt that they received. They're familiar with the courtesy reminders that they got. See, that's why your income is consistent, because you wake up and the person who used your service the last time is familiar to them, and that is what builds trust. People like things that the last thing somebody wants to do is something that's completely brand new that they've never done before. You are probably much more comfortable doing something or driving a route to work that you normally take. You're probably more comfortable eating around the same time of the day that you normally eat, or going to bed at the same time. So when something is consistent and it becomes efficient, customers love that. It's simple and it's straightforward. So therefore, your income follows that same path.
Now, we'll kind of speed through a few of these. Training. This was a pain, ladies and gentlemen. This was an absolute pain. I did have a shortcut, but there's a learning curve that goes along with this business. So when I did bring on my VA, I spent a lot of time training. Luckily for me, I had an online course where I taught other notaries how to handle phone calls, but that training is very heavy. And by the time the person gets up and running, now you're on correction course. Be like, hey, it would have been better if you said this, because now you're doing debriefing on that training. And then if you plan on, which I was in the process of bringing on a new VA, not a new VA, but an additional VA. So I would have had 2 VAs. Now I'm getting my current VA to train the new VA, which pulls her away from the business of handling, the day-to-day tasks. The training was unreal, bro. Unreal. But one thing I know about automation, you ain't got to do it like that. But you want to talk on that?
Yeah, there is no training with automation. As soon as you learn, if you get introduced to a software, then you have to pick up how that software applies to your business. And after that, it's a one and done deal. It just goes from there.
Mm-hmm. Revenue, it fluctuates. Cash flow, it is volatile. It's inconsistent because there are some people that you needed to follow up with. There's some people that you need to stay in communication with, and because you're doing everything manually, it's hard to make those follow-up calls or send those follow-up emails, those thank you emails, those holiday emails that say happy 4th of July, save whatever on your next traveling notary search. Those things are so important. But one of the biggest things was call handling. That was one of my biggest challenges, was call handling, because I was running a nationwide notary agency, so I was getting phone calls from every state, and I was averaging about 70 to 85 calls per day. So you can imagine, like, that type of wear and tear and bandwidth, it's hard for one person to handle. I couldn't answer all the phone calls, and by the time, if I missed a few phone calls and I reached back out, by that time, this business has a very small window. If you do not execute in that small window, they already found somebody else to run the notarization. So I lost a lot of deals because I lost a lot of phone calls. So the call handling was the lifeblood of the business. That was the major artery of the business. If I didn't answer the phone, I couldn't speak to the customer. If I couldn't speak to the customer, I couldn't close the deal. If I didn't close the deal, my company made no money. It was that simple. What do you say about call handling, Tech?
Listen, you either answer the phone call or a robot does it. Which one would you rather do?
Well,
I would rather. Yeah, but you can only answer it when you're available. What if you're driving?
That's right.
And what if you're asleep?
Bro, I was in the shower, couldn't answer the phone call. If the phone was in another room and I didn't hear it ring, I didn't answer the phone call. There's too many variables on how you can miss phone calls, bro. Too many.
Yeah, and here's the sad truth. Many notaries, people with notary commissions, let me rephrase that. Many people with notary commissions have just become too damn comfortable with sending calls to voicemail. You're too comfortable and you're too at ease with missing phone calls, sending them straight to voicemail, telling people that you'll call them back. The difference between a high-earning notary and a notary who just barely scrapes by is the person who treats every single call like they're VIP and a high potential earning client. It doesn't matter what phone number they're calling from or what zip code, area code. You treat that same person and talk about efficiency, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Talking about consistency, right? You're treating every single client as if they're a potential VIP client. And if you miss a phone call, would you treat the VIP client like that? What if it was President Obama calling? How do you know? Until you pick up the phone, you won't even know.
Yeah.
So 24/7 automated response is a buffer. Here's another thing that it does too. And just to give you another point, here's the reason why I say you need to have two different cell phones and not just one. And definitely no Google Voice. You need the second phone because that automated voice message, that response, that service, that is when somebody calls you, if you have an automated answering service, when that person calls you, when your phone rings, when it's being rerouted to you, you know that they've already heard that message. Now, here's how powerful that is. And again, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but here's how powerful it is. The fact that they've already heard that message, they've already been presented options, and that still leads them to want to speak to you, that should be an automatic 100% slam dunk close. They've already heard all the options. The chances are that person truly, really needs a notary appointment. So that's what makes it even more likely for them to book an appointment. So the call handling is, I can't go back. There's no business I would start without it being confronted first with some type of automation service.
Indeed. So scheduling was another big problem that I had. As far as like not having automation. In my calendar, in my Google Calendar, my wife has access. I, of course, have access. And I have 4 kids. She's putting doctor appointments in my calendar. I'm adding my own personal doctor appointments in my calendar. Now I'm putting notarization appointments in my calendar. And when I'm receiving a phone call, if I'm writing everything down like that, it becomes difficult to say, oh, do I have that available? Now, that was one of the reasons why I gave myself a grace period between appointments. And you guys can use this as well, is that I give a 3-hour grace period. You have to book the appointment 3 hours prior to when you need it. And the reason why I did it is because my calendar would just look crazy. It looks like a Crayola box. It just has all these colors and appointments in there. So I would ask the customers to give us a 3-hour grace period. Now, if you're out of town, it will be a 4-hour grace period because I would have to look for a notary that can run that appointment. It gave me enough time to do that type of search. But when a person called, and you know how many times I would have to say, let me see if we have that available, tech. That should have been something that was automated where it was like I send them the link, and then, you know, of course, when I got Calendly, it made it a lot easier. But when I would send them the link, then they would look at the calendar, and then, of course, it would coincide with whatever my schedule looked like. But man, that was tough. The scheduling was crazy.
Yeah, it's talk about how terrible it is to do it without automation. Yeah, you're blending into my section. Talk about how awful, how painful it is to do it by hand, to write down to carry a notebook around with you in your car.
It's not the way to go. Period. It's not the way to go, bro.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Straight up.
No,
I felt like I was working in the Flintstone ages. Not cool.
Yeah, damn, you're writing stuff in stone, and then you can't even read your own writing. How about that?
That happened.
You forgot what their name was. You forgot what the phone number was, and don't forget what the address was. Oh my God! All right. You didn't save it in your phone, so you don't even know who's calling you or which person. You call them back trying to say that you're late for the appointment, and then you end up calling the wrong person. Like, it's just terrible to do things by hand. On the other hand, on the other side, let me tell you, check it out. Have you ever double booked an appointment? Or have you ever been afraid to schedule an appointment because it could potentially be double booked? Or what about if you were running late for an appointment? See, these things happen because you're not using automation. So forget about the lead times. You don't need a buffer window. When you're using automation, the buffer's already built in. They can't book an appointment within 2 hours, or they can't book an appointment within 1 hour. But if you really are savvy with it, which is what I recommend, you take last minute appointments. It don't matter if they need it in a half an hour. They need it like tomorrow. Listen, every appointment is a yesterday appointment. What do I mean by that? Everything is an emergency. All appointments are emergencies. Don't ever get that confused or twisted. They're all last minute appointments. If you're not treating it like a last minute appointment, then they'll go find somebody else who does, who give them that level of care and that VIP attention as if it was a last minute appointment. So that means you need it right now, don't you? Why else would you call me? You know what? You know the real reason why people call you? The real reason why people call you and they don't walk in to your office, they call you because they need the appointment right now, Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
They need it right now. And if you can't give it to me right now, then I'm going to find somebody who can give it to me right now. And this is the reason why notaries lose appointments. And I know there's so many people out there who claim to be six-figure notaries, but I could almost guarantee that they're probably not. I can almost guarantee just by looking at the website, looking at the configuration, and I'm not even looking into their pockets. I'm just saying that I can see where holes are. How are you a six-figure notary and you do everything? That means you have no time for your family. That means you never take a vacation. That means you never take a holiday. You never take a day off. That means you don't sleep. That means you don't take a shower. That means your car has 200,000 miles on it. That means you have expenses up the ass with paper and email and phone bills. How is it possible? Now without the automation, it's not possible.
And like for me, Tech, I'm first generation American, right? So I have that immigrant mentality. Like I grind. I'm not only 10 toes down, I'm 10 fingers in, you know what I mean? So for me, the grind was what I'm supposed to do, and I'm supposed to grind that hard. And yes, I was putting hella mileage on the car, and I'm writing everything down, and I'm calling everybody, and I'm thinking that this is what I am supposed to do. But I knew, like you were saying earlier, I was spinning my wheels in the mud because there's going to be a point in your business where you plateau. No matter like how much work that you're putting in, you will exhaust certain things. That's why I would always tell on the live that I would only run 3 appointments and then I'm done. There's people that can run 5 appointments.
For how long?
With running a nationwide agency, 3 appointment was my max because I was dispatching a whole bunch of other notaries as well. So even though I stopped, the business kept going. I may have ran my last appointment at 1 o'clock, but my business is running till like 8 p.m. because I'm still supervising and overseeing the other notaries in Baltimore and Jersey and all these other places, making sure that things run smooth over there. And not only that, on the scheduling side of it, if I wrote it down and I didn't input it into my calendar, you damn right it got double booked. Because I completely forgot about it. So yeah, that's it. Man, if you got to do automation, I understand. Get in where you fit in. But you should be aspiring to automate your business 100%. Now, the follow-up part, you guys pretty much should understand what the follow-up. Now, the customer satisfaction, I do want to touch on that. That's the last one on this one. Client satisfaction. Once you start receiving a lot of calls, and I know a lot of people this happened to, when you start receiving a lot of phone calls, you start to get tired of answering those damn phone calls. The questions become so routine that you're not as enthusiastic as you were when you first started answering those phone calls. So now, if they caught you on a bad day, maybe Starbucks didn't make your coffee you the right way or whatever, you hit your toe on the dresser early in the morning, whatever the case is, that emotion transfers into the phone call. So now, instead of doing the professional greeting, you're like, hello, or what? What do you want? Your energy is off. Your vibes are way off. And you start mistreating the customers because your day is in the toilet. So the customer satisfaction does take a hit. The customer experience may take a hit. You may receive a phone call on your way to a new appointment that you made a mistake on the paperwork. Now you have to go back and backtrack and fix that correction which you didn't even make enough money on, but that's a whole different topic. You didn't even price it accordingly, so you're now going to lose money by going back to that customer. So your whole day is just off, and now you're going to mistreat that new customer. You're trying to speed them up. You may not even say anything derogatory, but your body language says it all. Like you're impatient, you're in a rush, you're rolling your eyes. I've seen notaries do this. I've tailed a couple of my notaries, and I'm like, okay, I don't like your attitude. Me personally, I'm seeing what you're doing. I'm not going to use you again. There's customers that have reached out and called me and said, yeah, like, this person was nasty.
Oh, wow.
They treated me like I was wasting their time. I paid you guys good money to come here and help us out and to have some patience with me and my mother or my grandmother. I don't appreciate that. So, yeah, the customer satisfaction starts taking a hit when you do not have any automation, because you are doing all the heavy lifting, light lifting, mid lifting yourself. Tech, do you want to talk on that?
Yeah. Just translate this back to you. If you went to Starbucks, went to Home Depot, went to McDonald's, you went to the car wash, if you went anywhere, and every single, let's say, how about this? This is a true story. So my wife and I, we would order Wingstop. And they just have a rotation of people that's in there. Every time we go there, probably like once a month, twice a month, there's always someone new in there. A couple of the same people, but there's always somebody new. And there's one time where, I kid you not, Tiger, I kid you not, we walked into this place. Mind you, we've already made the online order. We've already paid for everything. We're here to pick it up. We walked into this place, and my wife, she's next in line. I'm standing behind her. The girl just stared at her. Just like that, just stared at her. And then my wife, being as funny as she is, she looked back like, oh, okay, I guess I guess that means it's my turn to talk. The level of, if every time you went to order food or to wash your car or to go shopping, if it was a different experience every time, how often would you do it? Mm-hmm. And compared to every time you went to this place, every time you went out to eat, the service was excellent. You always had parking. The food came out on time. There was no surprises. That's what separates. Automation is what streamlines and standardizes your customer experience. When it's not automated, it's a toss-up. You're just guessing.
Yeah, crazy. I know you're pressed for time, so we're going to speed through this, Tech, so you can get into the money corner real quick. But here's the potential revenue difference. If both Aisha and Allison charged $150 per notarization, Aisha would be able to do approximately 30 notarizations per week, which is 120 appointments per month. Whether she's running that herself, which it would be about like 5 appointments per day, or she does a hybrid move where she's doing half agency, half herself. Her monthly revenue, 150 times 120 appointments would be about 18 grand. So now if Allison was doing it manually, she would be looking about 15 appointments per week, which is 60 appointments per month. $150 times 60 appointments would be $9,000. So the revenue advantage, Aisha would earn potentially $9,000 more per month, totaling $54,000 in 6 months compared to Allison. So those would be the numbers for those that want to say, all right, how much money would I make though if I did start automating my business? You're looking at a $9,000 difference per month on that one. So I'm gonna go over the 6 month outlook, which is real quick. So Aisha's automation journey would kind of look like this. She can expand her client base through reliable automation, consistent revenue growth, and stable positive cash flow, enhance reputation for reliability, resulting in increased referrals and long-time business sustainability. Allison's manual path would be more of a continued strain on resources and personal bandwidth. That first one right there is so true. Stagnant or declining revenue due to inefficiencies, and increased frustration, burnout, and high turnover rates in staff. Tech?
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, which one do you want? do you want to be completely stressed out and frustrated, or do you want to be able to have freedom and be able to expand and have no handcuffs on? Man, where my handcuffs at? You know?
Yeah.
Come on now, take them off.
So I put two bonuses for you guys. One's for manual and one's for automation. Either way, both of them are going to make you money in this notary industry. No problem with that. But if you choose to do it manually, you can get the $1 million call script, put in the code at the checkout, which is Sabrina AI, scan that QR code, and you'll get it for 99 cents. There's about $497 worth of bonuses on there for you guys. Completely free. All you have to do is pay 99 cents and you will get this $1 million call script. For those that want to do it manually, it's yours. Now, for those that want to automate their business, you can scan that QR code to book your private demo with Tech and I, and we will show you how to automate your notary business. Scan that QR code, see what Sabrina could do for your business. Tech, you want to take it for your notary money corner, bro?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, cool. Let me pull that up. Oh, I got a new stage for the money corner, by the way.
Yeah, let me get the intro.
Oh yeah, let me run that intro.
Yeah. Just to finish up, the way I think of it, when you go to the grocery store, you can either have self-checkout or you have the regular cashier. The self-checkout line usually has about 4 or 5 or 6 different options. Think about that. Your customers are going through your notary business. You can either service one person at a time with the cashier, or you can treat it like the self-checkout with the kiosk. They're putting people through there. The output is so much faster.
Mm-hmm. Remove this.
So which one would you have? Which one would you rather have? It's a no-brainer to me. I like this.
All right. That tune there. Nobody know with that tune.
Stage is yours, brother.
Okay, welcome to this week's Money Corner. Last week we talked about the rule of 72, which if you need a recap, go back and watch that other episode. Talked about rule 72, which means how long does it take for your money to double. In this particular Money Corner, I'm going to give you guys a personal look into my real life. All right, I don't do this very often. I don't show this, at least not to the public, but we do this behind closed doors. I'm going to give you a real peek into my real life. I'm going to show you how I use a debt pay down method called velocity banking, or my version of velocity banking is called pursuit banking. And pursuit banking is specifically used to pay down debt. Just like the Rule 72, as simple as I can explain it is, how long will it take for your money to double? In that example with the Rule 72, I said specifically, this could work in your favor. In other words, if you know how interest works, then you earn it. If you don't know how interest works, then you pay for it. So this could work in your favor, and it could also work against you, i.e., debt, i.e., credit card loans and payments. So if you don't know how interest works, it can work against you. If you do know how it works, it can work in your favor. I'm going to show you how. I'm going to give you the practical steps how it can work in your favor. Because I know there's somebody watching right now and says, well, give us some examples. How is this going to work? I'm going to give you guys a peek into my real life. I'm going to show you guys behind the scenes how I use a principle or a concept called velocity banking to pay down $21,000 in just 1 year. So my question to you is, how long will it take for you to save up $21,000? Some people could take years. You know, it could take a long, much more long, it could take decades for some people to do that. How about 1 year? How does that sound? So let me give you the scenario. Here's an example of where you use where these concepts combine. These principles, this is why financial literacy and financial education is so important, because what I do is not what you do. What you do is not what I do. It's very relative to your life. But if you've never heard of these concepts, never heard of these principles, then you're not using anything at all. But when you utilize these concepts, you can apply it to your real life. And how I do it in my life probably won't be how you do it. However, if you just know about the concept, then you could use it to apply it to your real life. Because the truth is, you don't tell everybody everything, do you? You don't tell everybody all your business. You only tell them a little bit of a little bit. So I'm going to show you guys. Here's the scenario. So I bought a used car. Well, I'll give you a little bit of background information. I bought my first car in 2000, about 15 years ago, 2010, a brand new car. And as you know, Tiger, the worst investment you can ever make is a brand new vehicle. Am I right? Am I right? The worst thing you could ever do is purchase and finance a brand new car. That's the worst possible investment you can ever make. So what did I do? I went out and I purchased a brand new vehicle because I didn't know. No one had ever told me this before. All I knew was I needed a car. I was fresh out of college and or grad school, and I needed a vehicle to get to work. I could either borrow a car, and that was only temporary. And I could borrow money from my parents, who they didn't have the money at the time, or from a family member. I couldn't borrow anything, so I had to go and finance a car. How many of you guys are in that situation? You probably have a current car note that you're paying right now. So you find yourself in a situation, and soon enough, you find yourself in a situation where you probably are struggling to afford that car payment. So what do? Well, you do like most people who are, may not be educated in these concepts. You go back to the dealership and you try to turn the car back in, or you try to get a new car for a lower price. Problem is, you can't get a car for a lower price, can you? No, you can trade in the car, but you're going to have to get another car for a higher price in order to absorb the car's value and the money that you owe on the vehicle. Am I right? I know I'm talking to somebody right now because this is a true story, and I know this happens to a lot of people. This is what happened to me. Not only did this happen to me once, but this happened to me 3 times. I actually, starting in 2010, I got a new car like every 2 or 3 years. And some people might say, well, you shouldn't get a car that you can't afford. Well, here's the reality, and here's my response to that. What's the alternative? The alternative is to either take public transit, which is not realistic all the time. You probably live too far from where you work, or your circumstances prevent you from doing that. But nonetheless, you find yourself in a situation where 3 cars later, or 4 cars, or 5 or 6 vehicles, whatever it is, each subsequent car has absorbed the previous car loan. So I finally got to a point where I was financially educated enough to know that a new car is a terrible investment. And at that point is when I finally found a vehicle that was not new, but it was within a manageable range for my situation. Now, here's what I did. I'm gonna tell you guys, the car was worth a certain amount. Let's say it was worth 25,000. So, you always hear people say, put zero down, right? Put zero, no money down, and then you walk away with 0% for the next 12 months. Well, what does that really mean? If you've never actually gone through that, could you actually walk someone, a family member, a loved one, or a son, or a brother through that experience? I'm gonna show you. Here's what I did. I understood what those principles meant. You put down, so let's say in this example, I got a car is 25,000. I put 5,000 down, and then that dropped the value down to or what I owed on the car. I put 4,000, and then I dropped the value down to $21,000. So here's what I did. Here's the move right here. Once the car was worth $21,000 or something that was more manageable, check it out. Again, this is where we know how the rule of 72 works in your favor if you know it, and it works against you if you don't know it. Me knowing, and you now, you know the rule of 72. Here's what I did. Capital One offered me a 0% balance transfer for 12 months. And I'm going to show you this right now. I'm going to pull up my screen. They offered me a 0% balance transfer for 12 months. Once the balance of the vehicle was within the balance or could absorb the balance of the credit card, I swiped it so fast. I didn't know what happened. I might have started a tornado in the Midwest. That's how quickly I swiped the card, and I paid off the entire car right there, right then and there. You're probably thinking, why would you pay for a car on a credit card? Here's the reason why. The car was at 6% interest, and it would have taken me another 4 years to pay off the car. But by me swiping the card at 0% for 12 months, I paid off the car in 12 months. Check it out. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you guys exactly what this looks like. Okay. So, I need to change my password now. I'm going to sign in here. And can you see my screen? Share the screen here. Let me show you guys. Over the last calendar year, since last August, says no more transactions are being able to show. This is my real life right here. And I'm going to show this tab here where you see from the date here, which is last July, and then that coincides. Well, this is August here. You see the amount, 3607. And then you see August here. You see the amount, 3607. And then the next month is 3,000. The next month after that is 3,000. And then you see the next month after here is 3,000. The next month is 3,000. And then November, and then December. And then January, and then February, $1,000 each. And then November, and then December, 2,000. And then from January on, $1,000 each. So that after an entire year, after 12 months, there'll be a 0%, zero balance on this card. This is basically the car payment. This is how you pay off an exact, again, using the Rule 72. If you use the Rule 72, how many times if you have an interest rate of 0%, How many times does that go into 72 times, right? 0 times. That's right. 0 times. So that means your principal 100% goes to the balance. Once you swipe the card and once you have a remaining balance on the card, now it's up to you to divide it however you want, and in order to fit into that period of time. How long is it going to take for you to save up $21,000? Could take years, could take decades. But if you understand how credit works, you understand how interest rates work, then the debt that you create could actually work in your favor. Now, all of a sudden, you own a vehicle outright. Now, all of a sudden, credit card companies are seeing that you're using credit the way it's supposed to be used. So then they offer you, additional credit. Now, all of a sudden, you're under less stress and under less financial angst because the definition of out of control debt is debt that does not have a payoff date. As you can see, I gave the debt a payoff date, which was this July. So I'm happy to report that after this July, I will be the owner of a vehicle, right? No more car payments. I'm team no car payment, hashtag no car payment. And at the same time, I now have all of this available credit to use. The other concept I want to say briefly is when you use the concept of velocity banking, this concept also provides that your credit card is the checking account. That means your available balance becomes your checking account. That means all of your expenses, all of your bills gets paid through the credit card. So even your monthly car note is paid with the credit card, not from your checking account. If this is making sense to you, then welcome to the Velocity Banking in a Money Corner family. I will go over this topic in much, much great detail in future videos. If this doesn't make sense to you, then leave a comment below. Don't be afraid. This is something that I learned and I had to go through it in order for me to actually apply it. I heard so many concepts about people paying off mortgages, 30-year mortgages in 7 years, 5 years, 8 years. And I wondered, how is that possible? Well, it is possible. If that concept works with a mortgage, a 30-year mortgage, then how come it can't work with a 4-year car loan? Well, the truth is that it can. It actually can, because debt is just debt, no matter if it's credit card debt, if it's a mortgage debt, if it's student loan debt, or, debt is just debt. Uncontrollable debt or out of control debt is debt that does not have a payoff date. Control debt that's under control is the debt that has a payoff date that you give it. So therefore, it's more manageable and you are under less financial stress. So if you want to learn more about this concept of velocity banking, pursuit banking, how to control debt, how to manage debt, and how to take more control of your life so that you can get more access to credit, you can get more higher offerings from credit card companies, then please feel free to leave a comment below. And then also scan the QR code, and you can schedule a one-on-one appointment with me, 15 minutes. We'll bounce some ideas off each other's head, and I'll offer some solutions. That concludes today's Money Corner.
Dirty engineer boy. Circle it. Circle it.
Fantastic, brother. So I wanted to put this out too. Ladies and gentlemen, for Pass or Trash, we're going to open our forum up onto you. You can now submit your website for an live audit through us. And we will feature your website on Pass or Trash. So all you have to do is go to info@tigertoledo.com. That's info@tigertoledo.com and submit your website for the next Pass or Trash website. The worst that will happen is that you get tremendous insight on the tweaks you need to do to make and optimize your website to book appointments like crazy. What do you think about that, Tech? I just thought about that.
Yeah. I mean, listen. Yeah, I like the question that you posed a while back. You said, "What are you afraid of? Being smarter?" I thought that was a great question because, at the very least, you're going to walk away with some insights. Something's going to help you how to configure your website, or you know, how to make your notary business run way smoother.
Get some cut. Okay, we have some question about the money corner there, Tech. Well, hold on one second. We'll get to you, Natural Jesse. So Opera Brother said, why use credit card as a checking account to earn points?
Great question. And the answer is yes. That's one of the, I could probably name, well, I'm not going to say how many. I can probably name countless reasons why you should use a credit card over a checking account. But number one, the points and the rewards, I don't even use the points and rewards. I use the points and rewards as credit to pay towards the balance. But like, for example, my wife, she uses the points and rewards for other purchases and credits towards, like other rewards and other gifts. I just use statement credit. Boom, statement credit. That's one of the reasons. The other reason, here's another reason why, but this is the biggest reason, Opera Brother. And I'll ask you, you don't have to answer this, but just think about this. How much money do you have in your checking account sitting there right now? Let's just say, round number, $1,000. Let's say you have $1,000 sitting in your checking account right now, this very moment. What is that money technically doing right now? It's at best, it's probably earning 0.01%. At best, maybe 0.02%, right? Now, in contrast, how much is the lowest credit card that you have? I'm not even going to go with the highest because that would just be too easy. But let's say you have a credit card with a limit of $2,000. So on one hand, you have a checking account with $1,000 sitting in there doing nothing, maybe gaining 1% or 0.1%, a tenth of a percent, and then you have a credit card with a limit of $2,000. Okay, the $2,000 credit card limit is actually more, correct? We understand that. When you pay for bills, items, you pay for groceries, you pay for utilities, you pay your mortgage, you pay your rent, pay your car. When you pay for things from your checking account, let's say you pay for a $200 internet bill from your checking account, that $1,000 instantly drops to $800. Am I right? That money's gone. It ain't never coming back. It's gone. That money's been transferred from your checking account into the abyss, or at least to your internet company. If you take that same transaction, because you're going to pay it anyway, weren't you? You're going to pay that bill anyway, but pay it from your credit card with the $2,000 credit limit. Now you've got an $1,800 credit card limit, right? Now, the $200 that was subtracted from your checking account is gone forever. But from the credit card, that money returns, it goes back. You can reuse that money again. You can use that $200 again when that credit card gets paid, can't you? So then the limit goes back up to 200. It regenerates itself, it refills itself. So that's one of the primary reasons why we use a credit card over a checking account. Here's another reason why. So much talk is about building an emergency fund, and I'm a big proponent of having an emergency fund. 3 to 6 months is typically what's recommended. Probably need about 6 to 12 months especially now with AI coming around, AI taking people's jobs. It's gonna be mass layoffs coming around. I don't know if you know that or not, but here's the thing: if you have a $15,000 limit on your credit card, or some people have higher limits than that, you can see I absorbed the whole car of mine. That you can use that. That money's that's yours. You can use that. I'm not saying go out and go to Disneyland and go buy a boat and some jet skis and just spend the whole thing. But I'm saying that whole concept of an emergency fund, instead of having that sitting in some account, some savings account somewhere doing nothing, maybe it's gaining a modest 2%, 3%, maybe. But as you know, inflation is already at about 6-7%. So you're not really doing anything. And you have to pay taxes on that money that is so we're kind of getting I'm kind of getting a sidebar here a little bit, but what I'm saying is by storing money into an account, a savings account, checking account, that's not the purpose of a savings account or checking account. The purpose of a savings account or checking account is to transact money. It's to move money. It's not for it to be stored there, to sit there. Money should be stored in either investment accounts where they're gaining more interest, or at least more than inflation is, and then, or in a line of credit. In a line of credit, you can store money in a line of credit where not only are you eliminating interest, like we talked about the rule of 72, you're neutralizing the interest. So the money is actually paying for itself, and you have a greater access to a limit or to a higher balance. Because you're going to pay your credit card, you're going to pay your debts anyway. And on top of it, not to mention the rewards, like you said, and then the perks and all the points and all that stuff that comes with it. And then you also have a record of that transaction. So if something were to happen, you can also get it back. So there's just so many advantages to using a credit card as your checking account than actually using a checking account. A checking account purpose is just to transact money. It's not meant to store money. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but that's an excellent question, Uncle Brother. I hope I answered it.
Yeah, Natural Jesse says essentially to earn points, use as leverage to increase your credit limit and improve your score. Yeah, it's a triple bubble or even more.
Yeah, and those I didn't even mention those. I didn't even mention those.
She also asked, shout out, by the way, shout out to Natural Jesse. She asked, will a template be available for the worksheet that you had typed?
See, thank you. No, there's no template, not publicly available. No, not publicly.
Okay, cool. All right. Well,
if you talk about in the future, then we can talk about it in the future. But it's currently no, there's no template. But I would say schedule a sit down where we can, where we can actually discuss that. And then, I mean, that's nothing but a link. We can definitely make it available to you.
Yeah. Yeah, we see you guys are enjoying the Money Corner. We're going to continue to bring this heat. Tech is certified and licensed to talk about this stuff, and I appreciate this segment on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys would like to participate in the Pass or Trash website audit, submit it to info@tigertoledo.com. That's info@tigertoledo.com. We will pull up your website on the next show and give it a hard truth audit to see if you are optimized for booking appointments and receiving payments in the most optimized way for free. You just got to deal with a little bit of embarrassment if your site is trash. But for those that want to book a private appointment to see how Sabrina AI can automate your business, there's the QR code at the bottom of your screen there. We'd be more than happy to help you. No purchase necessary. We invite you to see what automation can really do for your notary business and how we can help you grow your notary business. Any final words, Tech?
No, that's it, man. That was a wonderful show. If you enjoyed it, leave a comment, leave a thumbs up.
You heard it here, folks. See you next Wednesday. Clip up.
As a business owner, you're juggling a lot, and managing phone calls can quickly become overwhelming.
That's where Sabrina, the AI voice automation that turns calls into clients, comes in. Imagine having a reliable 24/7 assistant that never misses a call, handles routine questions, schedules appointments, and directs important calls to the right people, all without needing a human touch.
This frees up your team's time to focus on what really matters, saves you money, and ensures every customer gets a consistent, professional experience. It's like having an extra set of hands, so you can focus on growing your business, not just managing calls.
Scan the QR code to book your free demo today.